Alright, recently I came up on a pretty good deal on a 75mm throttle body kit for the Maxima, or any VQ35DE to be honest. So I bought it. What I had to do recently was grind down welds that were on the adapter plate. I actually had to get new hardware for it because the old ones were too long, so I found hardware that's the right length. And then I also got these, which should hopefully be the right length. Obviously, if you're buying this new, you won't have to worry about any of this stuff, but that's what I've had to do. What this is supposed to do, this is actually 5mm bigger than the stock OEM throttle body. This should give you about 8 to 10 horsepower and 12 or 10 torque, somewhere around there. And all it does is just replace your stock one with one a little bit bigger. So it should be pretty easy install. I'm going to go over it today. First thing I'm going to do is go ahead and start off by taking off all the intake piping, just getting everything out of the way so I have all the space over there to work with. Since this car is drive-by-wire, another thing I'm going to do is go ahead and disconnect the battery just to be safe. So I'm going to go ahead and take off the negative terminal and just leave it alone. By the time I get the intake off and do everything that I need to do, it should be ready to just go ahead and start working on. Alright, so this is still actually kind of hot because I just drove it. I'm going to go ahead and remove this cable right here. This is what connects the throttle body to the car. There we go. That is now off. It seems like this is held in just down there. That'll come off when you actually take off the throttle body bolts. So these are all going to be 5mm Allen keys. So undo those. And then there's also two coolant hoses at the bottom. There's one right here. Alright, so I got my adapter here, as you see, and I also have the new bolts I bought. These are 22mm M6x1.0 bolts. I'm going to put a little bit of red Loctite on them just so that they don't come out. And it does get pretty hot, so I'm just using red for that reason. Here we have our intake gasket. We're just going to go ahead and reuse that. If yours rips, I would get another one before you even do this just in case it does rip. But I'm going to go ahead and put it on there right now. It should actually be super easy. We're going to put some Loctite on these first, so I'm not worrying about it after. Just a little drop is all I'm going to use for these. These do not need to be very tight. There we go. Then I'm pretty sure the way this goes on is sideways, kind of like this. Let me see, use the old gasket to confirm. It does drop on just like that. So yeah, we're going to do it that way. We'll go ahead and put the screws through, or at least one of them, with the gasket. We'll just do two actually, why not? And I'll go ahead and get the 5mm Allen key from our ratchet here. We'll just start threading these guys in. Alright, so for these I'm going to go ahead and tighten them in a crisscross pattern just because this is a part that needs to be sealed, so just to be safe, I'm going to do it in a crisscross. And these are just really small bolts, so you really don't need to tighten these down much at all. I would just be careful. Just do them pretty snug with a 3/8 ratchet and you should be all set. Alright, that should be good for all these ones. Now I can actually go ahead and start putting the new throttle body on it. As you see, just again, adapter is now on. Went in super easily. Now we can go ahead and work on the new throttle body. Alright, so I have the sandwich plate in, not the sandwich plate, but the throttle body adapter. And one thing I'm going to do is lube up this O-ring with some oil. I just have some 5W30 I'm going to use for it. It's always good to lube O-rings just because they can rip and dry over time. So I'm going to go ahead and put oil on it, then start bolting on the throttle body. And then this has actually been super easy. I'm pretty surprised. Alright, it's pretty dark, but again, here we have our new bolts. We're going to just put a little bit of red Loctite on the ends of those as well. And then we're going to throw the throttle body on. This black part is going to face the same direction as the stock one. So the black part on the throttle body is going to face this way. And then the coolant hoses that aren't going to be used are just going to face upwards. So I'll go ahead and start Loctiting these and getting them installed. Went ahead and Loctite all the bolts, and I'm just going to go ahead and start threading these guys on. For the last one, I'm going to go ahead and reuse the stock kind of like wire holder and just sandwich it in there. Alright, and same thing with these. You don't want to get them too tight, just kind of finger tight or very snug, because they are also very small M6 bolts. Alright, so now all the bolts are tightened. I'm going to go and get the Wiring Specialties adapter harness. Wiring Specialties harness adapter. This will plug into here and then just literally adapt it to the throttle body. Literally, I'll do it right now. It's super easy. Clips on like this. We'll just clip those together, and then this top one will go straight into here, just like that. Super easy. I'm gonna try starting it. I don't know if I'm gonna do the throttle relearn because this was installed on another car, but I guess I'm gonna find out right now. I'll go ahead and put some of the intake piping back on, and then go ahead and start it up, see how it works, see how it works good like it should. Alright, so this was a bit hard to get on because you actually have to stretch it over the throttle body if you're using the stock intake. If you're not, you probably won't have the same issue as me, but I literally just heat up the end of this and then just push it on really hard, and it actually ended up going on. So now I'm going to go ahead and throw the air box, you can't see anything, the air box back onto there, hook up the MAF, and then start it, and hopefully I don't have to throttle relearn just because it'll take extra time, but it should be okay. Alright, so last I left off, I was finishing up the intake. I actually put the air box back on and everything. The intake tube slid straight over this. Just to be clear again, this is an OEM throttle body from 2009 and up. Front-wheel drive VQs, it's a 75mm OEM Hitachi Nissan throttle body. They use them on the second gen DEs, or the second gen engines, second and third gens, I believe. But the stock intake hose goes right over it. Clips go in. Everything works just like stock. I'm going to say right now, it honestly doesn't feel that much faster. This might just be what 10 horsepower feels like. It pulls a little harder in like fourth, for instance, but I really don't think it's that much of a difference. It could also just be the fact that I still have a stuck intake, because I'm sure it's not the most power enhancing thing for the car. So yeah, it's a decent mod. I feel like maybe it gives you a little extra horsepower, but I'm sure it helps out a lot more if you have intake and headers and other stuff that kind of supports that mod.